Welcome everybody to a new post in the TFR Peak Group with Avi Tenenbaum. And this week we have a short story with the Chofetz Chaim, a businessman, and Reb Yisrael Salanter. So one time a Ben Torah businessman came to the Chofetz Chaim and he asked to buy his books. The Chofetz Chaim wrote many books. I know of at least 15 books that he wrote. Very prolific author. So this guy was buying from the Chofetz Chaim the first book, the second book, the third book, the fourth book. He buys almost all the books of the Chofetz Chaim except for one. He did not buy or ask for a Sefer Chofetz Chaim. He turns around and he's ready to walk out the door. The Chofetz Chaim asks him, "Excuse me, sir, but why aren't you buying all of my books except for one? You're not buying Sefer Chofetz Chaim. What's the deal with that?" And the man says, "Look, Chofetz Chaim, I got to be honest with you. I'm a big networker. I'm a big businessman. I do a lot of traveling. I have a lot of friendships. I hold a lot of conversations. And I'm a chevraman, as they say. And I don't see how it's remotely possible for me to never speak Lashon Hara. And so I don't see any purpose in buying your Sefer, reading about Lashon Hara. I'm just not going to stop. So what's the point of buying it and then feeling bad afterwards?" So the Chofetz Chaim said, that's a legitimate question. And I'll tell you, I had this question too when I wrote this book, that maybe it's too tall of an order for some people. And Reb Yisrael Salanter was alive at this time. So I went to Reb Yisrael Salanter and I asked him that if somebody says what you're telling me now, what is the Torah view? What should I tell them? And Reb Yisrael Salanter said, tell them that the Torah view is as follows. That even if you speak Lashon Hara, but by reading this book of the Chofetz Chaim, you sigh afterwards, S-I-G-H, you sigh, that itself is a special spiritual level. Zeh kishen la'atzmai inyan niskav hu. This is a very special accomplishment by itself. And so, if you don't learn Sefer Chofetz Chaim at all, you may not sigh after you speak Lashon Hara. But if you buy the book, at least you'll learn to sigh after you do it. And I absolutely love this story, and there are many stories like it. I was tempted to make a long TFRP this week. We're going to make it short. And, I think that when we grow up, we're taught in elementary school, in kindergarten, this very simplified idea of making good choices, bad choices, and if you're a good boy or girl, you do good things, and if you're a bad boy, a bad girl, you do bad things. And as you get older and life gets more complicated and complex, you see that the Yetzer Hara is much bigger than you think, and the Chazal say that every single day the Yetzer Hara gets stronger and stronger over us, and it's so not easy to overcome him, and we need God's help. And it's just not simple to do the right thing. It's really not straightforward. And Reb Yisrael Salanter was telling us a very realistic assessment of behavior and growth, and he was saying, instead of expecting to learn Sefer Chofetz Chaim and to never make a mistake again, he said, obviously you should endeavor for that, we should work on ourselves, we should try, but at the very least, if you learn that book, or any book, or you work on any issue, and you just sigh afterwards, you should feel good about that. That's special. That's an accomplishment. And so instead of abdicating our responsibilities to work on things and to say, I'm in despair, it's too hard, I'm never going to figure it out exactly the way it's supposed to, instead of that, Reb Yisrael Salanter said, at least do the little bit that you can. And maybe at the very least you can sigh after you do this bad thing. And that's the level that you're going to be at. And that itself is an inyan niskav hu. It's a special thing. You should be happy about that. And of course, once we have a happy, healthy, realistic view of behavior change, usually, by the way, this helps us to even keep on growing to higher levels. Everyone should have a beautiful week. We should make good choices. We should learn to sigh about the things that we shouldn't be doing and to keep growing and growing. Have a good week.